What are you going now?
Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Karen. I'll be a counselor today in this session. Before we begin, we just have to go over the intentional consent form for interviewing. So I'll give you a copy. Here you go.
Thank you.
And we can go over it together. It says, "Dear volunteer interviewee, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to interview you. I'm currently a student of the Social Service Worker program at Durham College, and this interview is part of the Interviewing Skills course. As a requirement of the course, I must practice counseling skills with a volunteer. I am pleased that you are motivated to assist with this assignment. Before we begin, please take a moment to browse the stipulations under which this interview must take place." So, number 1 is confidentiality. As a student, I cannot offer any form of legal confidentiality. Whatever you choose to share with me during a practice session will remain confidential except the following. I am strictly required to report any shared instances of abuse to yourself or others, any indications of neglect or abuse to children age 16 and under, sexual assault from a healthcare physician or person of OCSW, SSW, or if a client file has been legally subpoenaed to court. And B, I will be sharing non-identifying information with the class and my instructor. The second stipulation is that audio and video and written recording. The interview sessions will be recorded for my personal listening and learning and will only be used for the purposes of this interviewing skills course. Information collected may be written, audio, or video. If at any time you would like to stop the interview, we can stop all sources of recording and erase. So if you feel uncomfortable, the interview recording and any written documentation will be destroyed upon the completion of this course, if not stopped during the interview. So when I'm finished with the assignment, I will delete the file. The boundaries of competence. As I am a student and an inexperienced interview, I cannot yet prepare formal counseling. The importance of this practice session is to assist in my learning of interviewing skills. At the end of the interview, I will request your feedback about my performance. Please feel free to be straightforward, as this will give me an advantage moving forward in my career. And number 4, counseling and voluntary participation. Your participation is voluntary. As such, you may choose to talk about topics of real concern to you, or you may decide to role-play an issue that may not relate to you. Please notify me before we begin which role you'll be choosing to take. Then it states, I have read and understand the above details. I have been offered the opportunity to ask questions, and they have been answered to my satisfaction. I voluntarily agreed to participate in this interview, and I have been provided a copy of this consent form. So do you have any questions for me?
No, not real. Just throw to me, that's all.
Okay, so let's sign it at the bottom of the line here. This one. This one. And then I'll sign it too. And then this can be your copy. Okay? What?
I don't know my name.
What? You did so. November 23rd,
date.
2000. No. Well, I figured we should write the date down.
Yeah.
Okay. So. So let's start first with how did you end up moving to a retirement complex from your home?
Well, now I was living in a backsplit in Beaumontville, and I was playing cards in the retirement home Durham Christian Homes here in Whitby. Playing cards every Wednesday evening. Clavias, is a card game. And so when we get older, you cannot do your work anymore in the house and in the yard. So my wife tried to push me, to the building. I stretched it out for a couple of years that it didn't go. I turned one building, one unit down, and then you had to wait another couple of years, but finally I gave in, and it was good that I did it. But on the end of the story, you cannot do it anymore anyway. You cannot live on your own in the house anymore. But doing the yard and
What do you mean?
repair work.
You mean now?
No, that time. That it's that worse, like before I did everything myself, like building the basement, make units in it and cutting the grass, trim the hedges, get flowers and she was thinking that was too much. Let us try to get in that building and we
Mm-hmm.
So we applied for it and we were 10 years on a waiting list.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
So it was time that we found something that we can, take it easier.
So when you found out that it was a 10-year waiting list, what did that do? Like, how did you feel about that? And was there anything that you could do to lessen that 10-year wait?
Yeah, I can less it than when I had skilled trades and I talk here in the building. And then he said, oh yeah, you can come in earlier and you can help, with repair work and this and that, maintenance work. So, but I didn't really want to go, so I didn't talk about it to my wife and I just think, would play himself out in the role. But apparently, finally I gave in after, and we.
How many years was it that you ended up waiting?
10 years.
It was a whole 10 years?
Whole 10 years, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think myself there was a little bit, but you cannot prove, what we call vriendjespolitiek.
Politics?
Politics, you pay a little more of this and that, and you go to this church or that church, you can go in earlier.
Oh, because this is a Dutch Reform, right?
Yeah, and it was a Dutch Reform building, so very strict. And my wife stand up for what she believed in, so that she didn't believe in a church, and didn't believe in any religion,
Mm-hmm.
but she believed in God.
She was spiritual, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But not in, special, but all the.
With going to,
Yeah,
to
but all
church.
the things when you went through over in the years, like the wartime, the father died in the concentration camp. Yeah, I don't know. So, we decided to go here anyway, so and I said, okay, we go. And then, now that I look back on it, it was not, it was okay. It was maybe a little on the late side, but she passed away the 22nd of April this year. So we only lived here 3 years together. And she adjusted fast when she went to the gym, 3 times a week to gymnastics in the building. And she did a lot of work, like embroidery and needle pointing. So she was in a club like that. And
there was a club here like that?
Yeah, in the building. You get all different clubs, yeah. And then.
Did she still go swimming too?
And she went swimming too. Yeah, she went swimming in, but not in the building. That was Rockland Road, and
Yeah.
She did that a couple of times a week, but that she cannot do that anymore. Start worse with driving and stuff like that. So, and then, yeah, when I was lucky in a way, to get here, but I lost my license in 2015, yeah.
It's only been 3 years.
Yeah. So then I can, and I can walk here to the metro, to the grocery shop and close by. That was a big plus.
Yeah, big bonus.
And
for
then we
sure.
had to take a new doctor, Doctor van Bomenville, Doctor Whitby.
Mhm.
We were lucky to get a doctor across the road. We're not particular with the doctor.
Yeah.
No, but for instance, the doctor is Muslim.
Well, you,
So she wore the clothes.
hijab.
Yeah, but we didn't mind. Doctor is a doctor.
Mhm.
A lot of people, depressed this and they don't want that. So, but we never look at that. So, and was a fine doctor, and yeah, what to say, and then she was very involved. We play cards here I get a 2-bedroom unit then, and we play cards here every Tuesday evening. Met some girlfriends, but she knows already before we move in the building, until we're living here
From the card club.
on the card club.
Okay.
Yeah. And they come here Tuesday evening, play cards, and he didn't play claviers, but that has been 4 people. And he played American Euchre.
Like what we play.
Yeah, you get certain cards, and you have to
Oh,
play so many.
13? No.
Yeah, you get so many cards out on the table before you can lay out, and then you can add them to the other ones that lay on the table. And if you're not on the table, you cannot lay your cards out.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and but they make their own game ups. It was not real like according to the rules, but that's okay. They did fine. And before they start, they came 7 o'clock and make coffee for them and cooking and this and that. You play cards and I watch an hockey game or talk with my friend and
Oh, the women were playing cards and
yeah,
you were
I
just
I cannot see it. I mean, I cannot play with them.
right. Right.
So I talked to my friend up in Elmer, up in London, on the phone, and then I sit with my cat the evening, and then after that, when they left around 10, most time they left 10, around that time, 10. Then after 10 or something, that was the latest, and then we had to do the cleanup, and then get all, the dishes washed, and then we sit an half hour to cool off, and then we go to bed.
So what do you do on Wednesday nights now that's different from what your Wednesday night would have been before?
Real nothing. I go only, same as when Mom was still living. I went, we just drink coffee. We got the Friendship Hall here in the building.
Friendship Hall?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is every Wednesday morning is a Friendship Hall. There is coffee, cookies, and it is very religious, so they read a poem of the Bible or whatever, or on the prayer. But, you bow your head and you just think, you agree with other people believe in it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
And
it's okay not to believe.
Yeah, so then it is.
And it's okay too. Like it's okay to believe too.
Yeah,
I mean,
we never. If somebody comes here and talk about religion, we don't care. We don't
don't
talk
press
about
it.
Want it don't press it on us. Want it make a friction.
Didn't my dad have to become Catholic in order to marry my mom? Sorry, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. No.
Because they got married in a church, right?
Yeah, but it's on your own free will. Huh? See, for me, I was brought up in Holland in a boys' school.
Okay.
Not St. Michael's.
Yeah.
But
That's not a good reference at all.
Sint,
But the same kind of school like
St.
that?
Kind of school. St. Augustine, you had the uniform.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then a few blocks away, where the church in between, that was St. Antonius Church. And there was a St. Antonius Boys School. And there was a St. Antonius Girls School. The girls with all dresses, you know, like.
Yeah. Because everybody has to wear
everybody was
uniforms.
separate, you know, playgrounds and everything was separate. You don't come with the girls, so what mom and my wife, she was brought up Protestant, you know what you call
Protestant, yeah.
like United or something.
Okay.
Anyway, it didn't bother me, it didn't bother her. But you know, yeah, say loves go behind all that baloney, I think. And when we decided to go to Canada, and then we immigrated in 1964, and then the kids were growing up here in Canada. We went to the public school in Simcoe Street South. Yeah, you know, in Oshawa, and and then you know, for the kids and everything in the family, we decided to go to the United Church in on Simcoe Street. We did that a few times.
You and the family?
Me and the family.
Oh.
So apparently, door that, I met in Frank Lawrence, soldier in the World War II,
Okay.
and he was in Africa, you know, for against the Germans. He was prisoner of war in Italy, took him prisoner of war. Then he was shipped to Germany. Then he came back after the war to England. He met Joan, that was his wife. She was only 16, but that made no difference. He went to Canada, and they were living in Ritz Road, and he had a Boy Scouts group and a Boys Club. So when I just became the Boy Scouts leader in that group, the 19th of Oshawa. And that was fine, you know, we did that for years. I was a good
So
friend.
that was you and Frank?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and his wife. His wife was a Kayla. So Frank was more helping her out, and she was the boss.
Oh, okay.
She and I had a group. So that gave me the opportunity to learn lots more English.
Yep.
With playing with the boys, you know, like. And, since I was by the Navy, I know a little bit about roping and, you know, making nuts in the ropes and making chairs from ropes and that.
Yeah.
So that was good for the scouts, you know. And you like it that you had a leader that cannot speak English too good.
Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes when you do things with your hands, it's better than talking.
It's better, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I made at home all little, more like it was a table, but the table was open on the bottom, and it was all so that sections in it, so each scout had his own stuff to put in, and you don't have to take it, carry it home, you can put it in there, you know. So we step, I think, from one thing in the other one. But we had a good time. I did it for 12 years. And we went to wilderness trips in Algonquin Park and stuff like that. And,
did your kids go in the Boy Scouts too?
Yeah, one, the oldest one. No, all the kids went in the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
Yeah, but the older one, he was Queen Scout. And I think that was the time that he was a Queen Scout. Then, yeah, what you call him? The head boss van Zinner Motors, but started Zinner Motors. McLaughlin, he passed away.
Okay.
And so he was, like all area, like the scouts were there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I had another boy, Eric, he was in the scouts, and and the youngest one, Jeff, he was in the Cubs then. Yeah. He didn't take it long, he didn't like it.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's okay, he likes soccer and all that other stuff better, so that's okay. So, for the rest, but when we came here in the building, when we go back to the building, yeah, we get adjust, my wife was adjusting pretty good. I didn't like it, not for 2 bits, but I did it, and, and you cannot do it. You cannot do always what you like.
Mm-hmm.
So now that she's gone, I'm here alone. So, and it's a good, it is real, if you look back on it, it's good. But now I, still on place a roof above my head. I still got a cat. It's 20 years old. So that's the only thing I live for.
Well, you have your family to live for? Your family?
Yeah. I got 3 sons and 3, what you call it?
Daughters-in-law.
Daughter-in-laws. So my wife always wanted daughter-in-laws, but that never happened. So she had 3 boys, but she said all the time, she said, look at that what we get now, we get 3 girls. So we get 3 boys, 3 girls. So, and then each boy and each girl had the privilege, I guess, they have a girl first and then a boy.
Yeah.
And with all the 3 happened the same thing, a girl and a boy, and a girl and a boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and and then when we were older and it was a pension, we traveled a lot. In the beginning, we had it poor in Canada. She works, I worked.
And that was at a time that it was not normal, right?
That was not normal for us, but, we were more or less, we were spoiled in Holland. I had a house, and what you said, I had butter on my bread, and I had a house, so I don't want to go for cheese, but my wife wanted to move, so we went to Canada, and
And what made that decision?
that was more or less I served in the Navy for three years, about 3, and in Holland it is mandatory that everybody had to go in the armed forces, Navy or whatever, So she didn't like that. She didn't like she didn't like fighting, no wars. She said so. The only way to get out of it is we were up in an unemployment office, and you can take your pick, or you can go to Canada, you can go to Australia, New Zealand, or you can go Africa. Yeah, that's what right. Now I think New Zealand was out when you couldn't have kids.
Okay.
Or something like that. It was new.
Different laws?
Different laws you couldn't have. So then we decided to go, we go to Canada. We were liberated by the Canadians, so we go here, and so we came on, and it was Quebec City then, and we get the customs on board, Montreal.
Well, you took a boat, right?
Yeah, we went to the Volendam.
How long did that take?
That took us 9 days. 9 days, and it was those ships were what you call it, troop transports. Holland had one with Indonesia, so all those boats where they sent the soldiers overboard till 1949.
Keep going.
Till 1949, those ships they used for the immigrants. A lot of immigrants went to Canada. A lot of Dutch people went to Canada, and I think after the wartime, 50 when it started, real, we came late, we came in 64.
Right.
So, but, the problem was too, the kids had to go in the army when they grow up. And I had a house and it was from the company. I never can go to another company, but I had a house from the company.
So the company that you worked for owned your house?
They owned my house where I was living in.
Huh.
And that is, the reason was that in Europe there is a CAO salary, what you make a week, a month.
Mm-hmm.
Het is beter organized hier, want all the negotiations are done with the union, the government, and your employer before the due date. But to get away,
Not like here, is that what you're saying?
they're not like here. No, here,
Okay.
here they are most time let it go, and then we talk another 10 months or so. No, and then to overlap that, they give him a salary that I was allowed to have from the government, what I could make. I was a tool sharpening in a sawmill, and, like a foreman or a lead hand.
Okay.
And so to get away with that, they gave me a house, and I was living in that for, you can say for nothing,
Yeah.
So, but you can put it half, but that's my salary, and I didn't have to pay rent, no, nothing, So.
But you would still get a salary as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then when I left Holland, then they told them that I go, for immigration, and I applied for other jobs. I could make more money, but you couldn't do it, and then I had to leave the house.
Because then it worked out that you didn't make as much money?
Then it didn't work out to make, and he didn't want to give a house, so then I said, oh no. Then I decided to go. We talk about it a lot of times, to go to Canada, so we started doing interviews, by the employment office, like movies for Canada. We didn't even know what Canada was at that time. And then, we know from the soldiers from the wartime, and don't even know what it,
Yeah.
So, we decided to start working on it. So,
Get the papers
we
in
get
order?
the papers filled out, this and that, and you get medical papers, and then you get what is it again? Oh, you had to wait, like for a year, and it goes on before you accept it or whatever.
So it took a long time?
Yeah, it took a long time, and then we started doing buy books, like a Dutch book translated to English beside it, like dog, hunt,
Yeah.
Yeah. So and so we did that, and then we bought records, and then you're supposed to say good morning, or this and that, and try to do that. But apparently those records were all more made English, high English. So there were different words when we came
like
to Canada.
England? Like British?
England, like the UK.
Oh, okay.
So and that language is not the same as here.
No.
It is same.
It's a different
But it's different.
dialect,
But
I
if
guess?
you come from a platform, no railroad track,
Yeah.
So things like that, and a lot of things. And so no, then we get the notice to go, and then we left on oh no, then my oldest boy, he was not. We all got permission to go. Our medical was good, but my oldest son was no good. He had asthma, bronchitis.
Right.
So he had to go to all the doctors and see how it was, and so it delayed our going to Canada.
Really?
Yeah. So when we went out, so what we did, we had to go at the house. Everything was gone already for us. Furniture, everything was gone. So we went to my wife's brother in Eindhoven. Yeah, and we stayed there till we had the approval, for the older son, what the medical was and how that works in Canada. I don't know how that exactly went, but we got permission to go, and then we went to Rotterdam on the Volendam.
9 days later?
And 9 days later we were up and we back, I think. When we were in Rotterdam, the father, my wife, my wife there was the only one that was there to say goodbye. And,
From Holland?
Yeah.
Almost?
Yeah, by the boat.
Almost dad?
Yeah. And then we went to...
Not even Hella? No, Hella would have been the same age as my dad, right?
Yeah, he was, yeah. And then we went to, get sick, or seasick.
Mm-hmm.
We had the rough seas when it were real small boats too, a couple of 700 people or something. Not
Wow.
like the cruise lines that you get now.
It's
So,
a good comparison.
yeah, and then we went to first by Quebec, and then we get all the things on board, for your papers, landed immigrants, and all that stuff. So then we landed up in Oshawa, and then we had a number by the window in the train, and then we were just going to leave in Oshawa. But we didn't know what the number means, but we didn't know nothing. We were sitting in the train, and he bring you somewhere. And then all of a sudden the conductor came and said, "You're supposed to go off here in Oshawa, you guys are still on it." So he pulled the emergency cables and the train stops just outside, and we walked back over the tracks. And we went out and we were sitting in a little skivvy hole that we never expected to see in Canada. We never were used to that in Holland. So a light bulb hanging on a wire, that was the light in a waiting room.
What?
And there was nothing, no people to pick you up, nothing. So then finally, I think the police came. Yeah, and he contacted Dutch people, but we were not be able to speak that proper. He came in a landscaper, John Brouwer came and he picked us up, and then we went to the cabins in that is now Prestonville Road and Highway number 2. There were fishing huts before.
Okay.
So we were in the fishing huts, and there was, I think, 5 fishing huts, if I remember right, and with one central kitchen, and then more like guys living in there. So there was one big bed in there, like a queen size bed, say, and we sleep with 5 people on a queen size bed. And then
Really?
yeah, and then all side by side, and in the morning I tried to get work, so I found work right away, but we were coming to work, so, and I work in the construction by Peter Vogel van Arno, yeah. And that was real my first boss, and in the nighttime I worked for John Brouwer, did landscaping, flowers and stuff. So he was on the road from in the morning 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night time, tried to get some money, tried to get, your feet off the ground.
Did you have to pay to stay in the huts?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's
in all of it. You could, you had to pay though, it was not much, but the money was not much that time, if you would make $25 a week or so.
Didn't you come? How much money did you have when you came to Canada?
Not much.
You told me. What was it? I forget.
I think it was a couple $100, and then after 2 weeks I even had $3.
Yeah.
And for the $3 I went to the immigration in Toronto, and he said, I cannot do that, I cannot live here, like this and that. You get a boss, you kicked out, there is no union, this and that, your papers are not expected, you have all trades papers, you were sent by a lawyer and signed, and he didn't accept your trade papers. So, and then I went to the head immigration in Toronto there, and he said, "Oh no, we help you. We'll help you. You go back and you get a job." So then I had a job by Alaska Steel, but it was from Alaska Steel. I had to go Ontario Steel.
Mhm.
It was a Ritz Road North. So I was hired right away in a night shift, you know, a hot factory, but it was not used to it. Oh no, I was first in a factory, or leather factory, where you had the cow. You had to clean the cows, the grease off the house, you know, like, and the rice, you know, it was real dirty. So I quit that and then I came by Rockwell, and but you cannot, he wasn't allowed the trade papers, he didn't accept them, so I went, worked there in 2 days. It was 2 weeks nights, 2 weeks days. And when it was a days, I went to the night school in East College in Oshawa.
Yep.
And I tried to get my papers reinstated to the Canadian, whatever it was. So did, well, welding and electrician.
That's okay. We have to end it anyways.
And welding and electrician's classes and so, and then I went to, came to Durham College and he said, that's ridiculous. He said, here is your papers. You cannot find any better guy, you know, like this for the papers. So then I get my papers and then I was hired right away in the millwright for construction by Rockwell. But after 12 years they closed the plant down.
Okay.
And then I traveled back and forth to Milton, but it was, I can't take my pick of St. Therese or,
From Oshawa to Milton?
yeah.
Hey Dad, it's me calling, Jeff. It's 7:30. Just calling to say hello and stuff. So you know, Toronto Maple Leafs are playing hockey against the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. It's started at 7 o'clock. They're losing 2-0, but they're playing good. Just a couple of bad defensive moves and they're losing. Anyway, you can give me a call. I'm going to watch it in the first period, then I'm going to grab a shower. But, yeah, I hope you're doing okay. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Anyway, what was I now?
I don't know.
Oh no, we can have a pick. We can move to Milton, St. Therese in Quebec, and in by Sarnia. So I took Milton, that was closer by. So we had to set up all the machines there, and that was fine, you know, like picked me up in the taxi and brought me home with the taxi, you know, like, so it was well known though, but I think. Then I looked for a house around that area, Haspel, Acton, and all that stuff. And I said to my wife, you know, I'd rather find a job, you know, then I had about paid for the house. When I bought that house in Rowena Street for $800 down, I guess, and it was $1,200 or some, 12,000, 11,800 or some. Anyway, I had to pay it in 10 years. And save every penny of it, and so then I said I'd rather work for less money and stay in my house here, and the kids are here, brought up and go to school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The kids didn't like it too much in Canada in the first place when we came. We wanted to go back to Holland, so. But anyway, we relocated, and then I found a job in City of Oshawa and worked out the rest of my work years.
Working
you know,
it,
till
yeah.
I've close to 20 years. So yeah. So I got a little pension on it, so that's not too bad. So and that is the reason I can live here now. Otherwise, you cannot even live here, and it's too expensive here.
Yeah.
To live here now. For the rest, you know, it is hard, but it is. Ja. Oké, zei maar wij wel wat zet we doen voor de kids zo. Dat is weer dit. it's too bad. You know, they all had a good job. My older son had 37 years in the city of Oshawa, more or less as an inspector and other jobs before. Middle son was in went to Rijken University, or the oldest one went to Dunderway University. I don't think he finished it 2 years, but the middle one went to Rijken and the youngest one went to Rijken and die finished. The jongens waren met de reizen toe, iedereen nog wat van finish it, but the other guys talked to him and he said, you know, your parents went through all the trouble to give you a good life and now you spoil it. So he went back to Rijken and he finished it too with the chef and he worked by OPG now, the power generation. And Erik is right now the middle one. He's the CEO of his own company for fire protection engineering. He got a couple offices in Canada, and so the kids did well, all of them well. Yeah, and for the grandchildren, they're doing all well too. I think
Mostly.
mostly well. Yeah, that's and if they don't do well, it will come sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end the interview now. We're like a little bit over.
Well,
but that was fantastic, and thank you. I'm gonna shake your hand, but I'm giving you a hug because you're my hope.
yeah, no, that's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope it